Hi, man. Peace. Welcome back to another video of Bronzebird. Uh, One thing that makes me a little bit proud is that as we go forward into this nation, as we go forward into these years, it is very refreshing to see things that I usually wouldn't see or pay more attention or spread more awareness, especially about the so-called black man, and especially how the so-called black man needs more support, needs more services, need to have more stuff for himself. Now, the thing about it is, as everybody understands and everybody knows, for the past 4 years, I am from New York City. And the thing about it is, yes, I may not see eye to eye with the current mayor, Eric Adams, but I will say he has made plenty of efforts to reach out to so-called black men in different capacities and different situations. There has been stories, or a story that came out about last year or the year before, where he wanted to have a conversation with a bunch of black men that was in Burger King abusing drugs. And therefore, he was able to have a conversation with them, figure out what their mindset was, and able to get them on the right track. In this video, we're going to be talking about how Eric Adams is pointing out a big thing that needs to be noted, and anybody who had the chance to observe. In June, we had just passed Men's Health Month, Men's Mental Month. And on this channel, I usually spread the awareness more to the so-called black man and men in general about how there needs to be more of a support system for us, and that we shouldn't be overshadowed by other people, other races, and especially women. Not to say that this channel is a misogynist channel, because those who watch it this far knows that it is not a misogynist channel. But therefore, let's just check this out. Pete.
Everyone is against single black men. Everyone. There's not one community. They tell me, Eric, bring children and families, bring single women, bring this, bring that, but don't bring single black men into our community. Jim Crowism can't exist in our city.
Mayor Eric.
And with that being said, you have to just love it right there. Eric Adams really made a statement that just blown away, and something that should be more recognized with us, especially so-called black men. And in making that statement, it reminds me of a time when, especially when we get a lot of us so-called black men have asked, and me being a mental health advocate, in which we have asked for so-called black men to have more mental services, mental places that they can go to express themselves, express their frustrations, how their day is going, how their week is going, how their year is going. This is not a pity party to look down on a so-called black man, because if you let it happen, usually you'll get a lot of races of women, races of people, especially so-called black men, women as well. Not saying all so-called black women, but a good majority of so-called black women will use this time to down a so-called black man, especially when he's in times of need. He's not able to pay his rent. He's not able to rent out an apartment. He's homeless, living on the streets, or he's living on a subway. And if those that do the stats, usually the ethnicity of men who's more likely to delete themselves is the so-called black man.
Adams made those comments while celebrating his housing agenda, including creating more shelters, more affordable housing, and giving out more rental assistance vouchers. But city efforts have sometimes been met with protest, like this one 2 weeks ago in Bensonhurst, where City Councilwoman Susan Zwang is accused of biting a police officer. The predominantly Asian American community was expressing outrage over the groundbreaking of a shelter for single adults with mental health and substance abuse issues. We asked the mayor.
Now, that's one thing, not to get really political, but to really reach on. The fact of the matter is, New York City is having a lot of problems with these shelters that's coming in, because a lot of these neighborhoods are NIMBYs. We do not want you accessing that nonsense in our backyard. We do not want to support mental asylum patients into these places. And then now, with the whole entire thing about the migrant crisis, they are trying their best to try to find places around the city where these places, these facilities can support these migrants. And if y'all paid attention, native New Yorkers knows what I'm talking about. If y'all paid attention a couple of days ago, there was a shooting at Randall's Island where it was 3 in the morning. The migrants are having fun, playing a sport and stuff like that, and somebody got shot. These are the realities, but we'll talk more on that at a different time.
If that was the type of pushback he's talking about, Adams insists he was calling out the problem, not anyone specifically.
Why haven't we dealt with this pink elephant in the room? The protests that you're seeing in the city are for single adult black and brown men.
Separately, there were moving moments Monday. Alan Pastors was brought to tears as Adams handed him keys to a new apartment. He's been living in the shelters and on the streets for 3 years and had a lot of trouble finding a place to live, even with a city housing voucher in hand, until the mayor's team intervened.
Now, before this brother speaks, one of the things that we have to really touch on as men, I can't save the world, nor can I really say anything to that. But the only thing is that I can spread awareness on this issue. You have to understand that the man is usually violent towards other men more times than not. Now, the thing about it is I've heard countless stories of so-called black men who have been fearful of going to these shelters with the fear of being beat up, some of them got stabbed, and all these different things happen out there. And it's a very sad thing that we have to deal with in this society, where the black man could be at his lowest point, to the point that everything is removed from him and can barely even eat and survive in this society. Therefore, he tries to ask for help and put himself in a place where he can get helped, and automatically he has to be helped with violence. It's crazy.
Was like very depressed of knowing that I had a voucher and no one would do anything for me.
But the city council has been critical of the mayor for not supercharging the voucher program by granting them to people on the verge of eviction. Adams pushed back, saying there's other assistance available to those individuals and there's just not enough housing inventory.
You're going to overburden the program, particularly with a 1.4% vacancy rate.
And that was a quick little video, but I wanted to use this video as serve as an inspiration to so-called black men that's going through these times of rough, enduring rough times and, having to deal with all these different things. The thing that I must say at the end of the day, there's always some sun outside, even when there's a cloud. When there's clouds outside, it's a cloudy day, there's still lights outside. You understand? And the thing about it is that as we move forward into this, there should be more exercises, more programs, more outreach for so-called black men to not only be able to get the proper services that they need, but also so-called black men to feel more comfortable in society when it seems as if society is trying to knock you down just for being a black man. And because they'll look for anything out the book for the black man to still maintain his position at the bottom of the totem pole, him being broke, him not having a job, him being this, not talking in a certain way, him being denied for jobs, or him having a criminal record. There is definitely things within this society that make sure that the black man is always going to be looked down upon and he can never get himself back up, and that he's coddled and that he's this and he's that. But one thing I'll say to that is the black men that's out there trying, salute and keep going. Otherwise than that, if you like what you heard, if you like the content, make sure you like, share, and subscribe, and make sure you comment. Peace.